Everyone, and welcome to my channel AVME. Guys, in today's video I'm going to show you if your external Thunderbolt hard drive is not working with your Mac computer, then what needs to be done and how you can resolve the issue. In my instance, I purchased two Lacie D2 Thunderbolt to 4 TB each hard drive, and when I tried to connect it via Thunderbolt to my iMac, they were not working. So next thing what I did, I connected it via USB 3.0 and they were detected right away. And then what I did, I checked the integrity of my Thunderbolt port of iMac mid 2011. So I connected Thunderbolt to LAN adapter to check whether my Thunderbolt port detects it or not, and it was. And then what I did, third thing, I connected the hard drives via Thunderbolt to my MacBook Pro and they were getting detected right away. So I was like, my Thunderbolt port is working fine on iMac and the hard drives, they're working fine on another Mac. So the issue relies with the Thunderbolt driver. Then I contacted Lacie, explained them the situation, and they were like, this is more likely Apple. They need to upgrade their Mac OS Sierra Thunderbolt drivers in order for this hard drive to work, and etc. And then I contacted Apple. The call went to their senior support, and basically I explained then the entire situation, what troubleshooting I did. The hard drives, they work with another Mac, but when I connect it to my iMac, they don't work, and the Thunderbolt on my iMac, it's working fine, as I've connected my MacBook Pro to do target display mode, disk mode, and it's just working fine. It's just these hard drives, they're not working fine. So Apple told me that there's no way you can upgrade or downgrade the drivers and of the Thunderbolt, because I told them, look, this is a Thunderbolt driver issue and I need to upgrade my Thunderbolt driver. My Thunderbolt driver was on D.0 and firmware, micro firmware version was 1.2.1, which I'll show you everything on the Mac screen later on. And I told them that I need a different firmware of Thunderbolt in order for these hard drives to work on my iMac. And basically they said, look, there's no way you can upgrade the Thunderbolt firmware. If it's not available via the App Store, then you can't do it. So it's more likely that Lacie, they need to upgrade their firmware in order for these hard drives to work on your iMac. So I became a football between Lacie and Apple, and I was like, okay, I need to take charge and fix it myself. And I knew that it was the Thunderbolt driver, but unfortunately Mac operating system or Apple doesn't allow you to upgrade or downgrade the drivers just like that. It's not like Windows. What I did in order to fix this issue, now this is going to help probably a lot of people whose external hard drives, especially Thunderbolt, they're not getting detected with their Mac computers. Guys, so one more thing I want to mention here is this. Before you start all this process, you're going to need a minimum 64 GB to 128 GB USB flash drive or external SSD drive. If you're going to use external SSD drive via USB 3.0 port, then the process is going to be much faster. And rest I'll show you on the Mac screen what needs to be done. And this way you would create a bootable USB flash drive with Yosemite operating system or El Capitan operating system of your choice, and you will boot from the flash drive into the operating system without touching your internal hard drive. So I'm just going to show you how to do it. One more thing, back up your data on your internal hard drive before you do any of this. So I'm not going to be responsible for your data. Okay, so I see you on the Mac screen. All right, guys. So once you've connected your flash drive to your Mac computer, go ahead, open Disk Utilities, and it should appear on the left-hand side here. Now mine is 64 GB, and which is the minimum I recommend for this fix. And I'll tell you why we need 64 GB, because once we're going to download the Yosemite OS image from Mac, then we are going to make this drive bootable So I'll show you the entire process and stuff. And then what we are going to do is we're going to install the Yosemite on this same drive. Now, nobody would show you on the internet how to do that or anywhere on the forums, but I'm going to show you today how to do it in one go. Okay, so go ahead and erase this. Now just leave everything to default here. These two, they're really important. The format, Mac OS Extended Journal, should be selected, and scheme should be guild partition map, and the name, leave it untitled for time being, and go ahead and erase this. Okay, so it's unmounting the drive and erasing it. Now this would take probably 2-3 minutes dependent on the speed of the drive. In the meanwhile, I'll show you. Now this is done, erasing, so just click on done. And in the meanwhile, I'll just show you that the hard drive, it's sold by Apple on their official website, and basically it says Thunderbolt and USB 3.0, but it wasn't getting detected on my iMac, and probably there are a lot of other Mac computers. This hard drive or any other Thunderbolt hard drive would not just be plug and play out of the box for Thunderbolt. So just to let you know, guys, that this is the hard drive. It's sold by Apple on their website, and this is the Lacie link to the hard drive. I'll leave both of these links in the video description below. All right, anyways, so going back to our issue now, before the Thunderbolt firmware upgrade, this is what my version was. As you can see on the screen, where the version was D.0 right here, and the micro firmware version was 1.2.1. And obviously it was working fine because I connected a Thunderbolt to gigabit Ethernet adapter, and it was just getting detected. And in another video I've shown this, that I connected a MacBook Pro to my iMac and used it in target display and disk mode. Anyways, so before the upgrade, this was the version. All right, guys, and after the upgrade, this is my version. So after upgrading the firmware, this is my version. So I'm just gonna click on system reports and go on Thunderbolt, and this is my version right now, version 22.1, and micro firmware is 2.13, and all my external Thunderbolt hard drives, they're working fine now via Thunderbolt. So the thing is this, obviously Apple would not just allow you to download the firmware of, like, I'll show you. If you go here and try to put like Thunderbolt firmware v1.1, for example. So if you want to upgrade this, obviously it's intended for previous generation Mac operating system. If you click on system requirements, it says 10.7.4 or later. So when you download this, and basically if you're running Mac OS Sierra, it downloads it, you try to run this, then what would happen is this is going to open the .pkg file. When you try to run this, it will go through this. You click on continue, and this is the error you're going to get. Your computer Thunderbolt port does not need this update. So this is exactly what I was getting when I was on D.0 and I was running Mac OS Sierra. So I was stuck, like, I knew that it was Thunderbolt firmware issue, but I was stuck, like I couldn't basically upgrade it. So I decided to go back to Yosemite to upgrade my firmware. But obviously, how to downgrade to Yosemite without erasing your internal hard drive and just using an external USB flash drive to make it bootable operating system hard drive in one go. And I'll show you how to do that. So so now the next step is go ahead, open the App Store and download the Yosemite OS image. It should be in your purchased tab. Here are all your purchases and stuff for your particular account. So if you look here, I've got like OS X Yosemite and it says install because I've already downloaded it, and OS X El Capitan is available to be downloaded, so I can download that. So once you click on download on the Yosemite one, it would be downloaded inside your application folder in a file like this right here. Install OS X Yosemite. Now you can't just simply copy and paste this into your flash drive and boot from it. You need to run few commands and stuff, and I'll show you how to create the external USB flash drive into a bootable operating system image in one go. So go ahead, open this. Go ahead, open terminal and copy paste this command. I'll leave the command description, the entire command, in the video description below. Now don't press enter yet. We are not done yet. Okay, go back to disk utilities and now change the volume. Now this is really important. Change the volume name to Yosemite, because this is gonna help us. Why we are changing the name to Yosemite? This is gonna help us create a bootable disk, but then I'll show you later on Mac screen that we would be able to install the Yosemite operating system on this bootable disk as well. So once you have named it Yosemite, go ahead, close disk utility, and here in the command which you have just written, go here. Actually, I tell you what. Okay. Okay, here in the command, just put Yosemite now. Yosemite. Yeah. And now copy and paste this in the terminal window and press enter. It would prompt you to put in your password. Go ahead, do that. Okay, so now what it's going to do is it's going to start erasing the disk. And once it has erased the disk, it's going to start installing the Mac Yosemite operating system image files on this USB flash drive, and obviously it's going to create it into a bootable image. And I'll show you a screenshot how it would look like once it's done. So it's going to erase the disk, then it's going to copy installer files to the disk, then it's going to copy bootable files, and then it's going to say done. Now this could take between half an hour to 1 hour dependent on the type of USB flash drive you're using and whether you're using 2.0 or 3.0 and stuff like that. You can use an external SSD hard drive as well via USB 3.0, which would make this process much faster. But this is exactly how it would look once it's done erasing and making the disk into bootable image with Yosemite image on it. Okay guys, so obviously this is going to take a while now, so I'll show you next on the Mac screen what we need to do next in order to downgrade to Yosemite and then upgrade our Thunderbolt firmware. Now I would highly recommend, before you try all this, back up all your Mac data onto your external hard drive via Time Machine or whatever backup solution you use. Just back everything up before you try this. Okay, so once this is done, I'll show you next what to do. Guys, it has done doing its processing, and it has created the disk into a bootable disk now. So what we are going to do next is we are just going to go ahead and boot from this flash drive, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. So just close this window now. Once the process is done, close everything. Make sure your bootable disk it's still connected, don't eject it. Go ahead and click on Apple logo and restart your system. Okay guys, and then I'll show you next what needs to be done. And one thing I want to mention, once you are basically restarting, before the chime, then just press and hold Alt key. I'll show you on the camera screen as well, like what needs to be done. But as you're restarting, just make sure once your Mac screen switches off, then you press and hold the Option or Alt key before the chime. Guys, so as you restart your computer, press and hold the Option key right here, this one. And just keep holding it till the Apple logo appears on the screen. Or you can basically release it after the chime. So by holding the Option key, what we have done now, if you look here, right here, I'm going to try to make the screen as clear as possible. We have loaded into volume boot mode by holding down the Option key before the chime. So this is the volume boot mode. What it does is it gives us the option to boot from external and internal bootable hard drives, DVDs, or USB flash drives. So the internal hard drives, they will always appear in gray color. So you know that which one to mess around with and which one not to. So this is the indication. So the disk we created was this one. Let me try to just make it as clear as possible for you guys. Okay, so this is the disk we created. Install OS X Yosemite. So we're gonna boot from it. Here, your mouse would not work. So you have to just use your keyboard in order to select the hard drive left or right. Don't worry about choose wireless network. You don't need internet connection for this kind of installation. So go ahead and select the USB flash drive and press enter. Now what it's going to do is it's going to load into Mac OS X Advanced Utility mode. So once it gets to that mode, I'll tell you guys what needs to be done next. Guys, hopefully you can see the screen now. So now your mouse will work and it will load into this OS X Utilities Advanced option. So go ahead and click on Install OS X. As I said, you don't need any internet connection for this. But in case you want to make sure you want to connect to internet, then you can connect to your Wi-Fi. It appears right here. If you can see it or not, you can configure it that way. But anyways, you don't need internet for this kind of installation because the image of Yosemite is on the bootable USB disk. So go ahead and click on Install OS X and click on Continue. And there you go. This window would appear and it would say OS X Yosemite. Just click on Continue. Agree the license agreement. And this window would appear that agree it, basically. Click on agree. And now be careful here, yeah? As I said, your internal hard drives, they would always appear in gray. And rest of the stuff, they would appear if you have connected external hard drives via Thunderbolt or USB, they would always appear in yellow. So we are not installing Yosemite on our internal hard drive. And before you guys even start this procedure, I told you guys to back up everything via Timeline or whatever backup solution you use. Now, if you look, the middle disk right here, it's my 64 GB USB flash drive. So I'm going to install OS X Yosemite on it. Now, the trick here is, you remember that when we were creating this disk with Yosemite OS image on it, and we were creating it as a bootable image, why I changed the name to Yosemite? I changed the name to Yosemite, so once it gets to this stage, I should be able to install it on the USB. If you don't change the name to Yosemite, then once you get to this stage, it's not going to give you the option to install it on the same USB which you have created as bootable. So make sure you follow step by step whatever I've done in this video. Okay, so select the flash drive. Do not select your internal hard drive. Do not do that. And then just go ahead and click on install. Now this is going to take some time. Probably this is going to take an hour or so. As I said, again, depending on the speed of your computer and the speed of the USB flash drive, whether it's 3.0 or 2.0, but the entire process of installation can take somewhere between half an hour to 1 hour. So once it gets beyond this stage, I'll show you what's next. Okay guys, so after the installation process, it just restarted, and now it's just initializing all the operating system files and stuff onto the USB. Now this process is going to take some while, guys. So as I said, after the restart, now it has loaded into this screen, and basically it's installing the Mac Yosemite operating system now, and it's showing me about 17 minutes are remaining. But as I said, be patient, have some patience, because this process is gonna take about I think about an hour, especially if you have USB 2.0 port. If you have USB 3.0 port, then probably it could be faster. And if you're using an external SSD drive, then it's gonna be much faster. So now this is the initialization of the operating system the first time you have installed it. So I'm just gonna select my country here, which is United Kingdom, and click on continue. And it's going to ask you what keyboard. I'm going to select British. You can select whatever country you're from or whatever keyboard you have, and click on continue. Now it's asking me to connect with the Wi-Fi, which I'm going to do. And now it's asking that, do you want to transfer anything? Just click on no, don't transfer any information, and then click on continue. Now it's going to ask you for your Apple ID. It's up to you whether at this stage you want to log on to the Apple ID or not. I'm not gonna sign in right now because I don't need this to update the Thunderbolt firmware at this stage. So I'm just gonna click don't sign in, but it's totally your choice whether you want to do it or not at this stage. Click on continue, and I'm just gonna skip this and agree, and just select account name for this operating system which you have just created on a bootable flash drive. I'm just gonna name this as troubleshooting. and password troubleshooting, and password I'm just gonna put it test hint T, and I'm just gonna click on continue. I don't want to send any diagnostic reports and stuff to Apple, so just uncheck that, click on continue. Okay, it's setting up your Mac now. And now it has loaded into the Mac Yosemite operating system from the USB flash drive, as you can see, like right here. So what needs to be done next is go ahead, open a browser, like Safari, and put in the search bar Thunderbolt firmware v1.0 and press enter, and go ahead, click on this first link and download this firmware. Once the download is completed, go ahead and run it. And go ahead, run the .pkg package. And do you see, this time it's not giving me any errors at all to upgrade my Thunderbolt firmware. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click on continue, agree, and just make sure it's on your flash drive, continue, and then install it. Now it's gonna ask you for your password, just put in the password and then install software and continue installation. And can you see, like, it says that this installation was successful. So now just go ahead and restart your computer and press and hold the option key again to boot from your internal hard drive this time. So press and hold it, keep holding it, and release it after the chime, obviously. Now it's giving me the option to boot from my internal hard drive or from the USB flash drive which I've just created. I'm just going to select my internal hard drive and click on next. I'm going to log on to my account as usual now from my internal hard drive. And it's going to load into the operating system from your internal hard drive. And as you can see, this operating system is Mac OS Sierra. About this Mac. There you go. This is OS Sierra, so this is my internal hard drive. Without touching the internal hard drive, without erasing the internal operating system of internal hard drive, I just fixed an issue. And if you just click on System Report here and click on Thunderbolt, obviously my D2 Thunderbolt 2 USB 3 Lacie hard drive is connected and recognized, and I've connected it via Thunderbolt, and it's just right here in the upper right corner. You can verify it by going into Disk Utilities, and the drive should appear here as well. This is my Lacie D2 Thunderbolt 2 hard drive. So guys, this is how I fix this issue, and I see you on the camera screen now. Guys, hope this entire process wasn't that lengthy. Instead of being a football between two companies or with Apple and stuff, you can take a charge in your hands and sometimes resolves the issue much quicker. So it's better to do your own research and stuff. And I'll show you one more thing. Obviously on the computer screen I showed you that my Thunderbolt Lacie hard drives, they were detected and they're working fine now. I get much higher speeds now. But also after upgrading the Thunderbolt firmware, I've noticed on my external monitor, I'm getting out of my iMac, I'm getting a 4K resolution for my external monitor after upgrading the firmware. So if I click on info here, I'm mirroring my Mac. So the option it gives me is, let me just go into system preferences and displays. If you can see on the screen, let me just zoom in, guys. So if you can see now, after upgrading the Thunderbolt firmware, I'm mirroring my Mac at the moment on my external monitor, which I reviewed recently. So if you want to go ahead, this is an external TV which I'm using as a monitor, but it serves the purpose well. I mean, the colors on it and the input lag is just amazing. But after upgrading the firmware upgrade to V1.0, now look, I get Ultra HD resolution to be output on this Samsung TV monitor, and I get like full 4K 4096 by 2160. This is, although if I just go here on arrangements and unmirror, this is just limited to Ultra HD 30 Hertz or 30p if you want to call. But look, after upgrading the Thunderbolt firmware, it opens up a lot of functionality for that port. Alright guys, hope you have liked this video about how to fix the issue with your Thunderbolt firmware port, and probably from this video you would learn how to create bootable USB flash drives and how to create or how to downgrade to an earlier version of Mac operating system. And as I said, it opened a lot of functionality on my Thunderbolt port. Like before, for my external displays via Thunderbolt, it was limited to 1080p at 60 Hertz, but now it has opened the functionality of outputting up to Ultra HD resolution, which is 3840 by 2160 at 30 Hertz, or even full HD if my external monitor supports it, which is 4096 by 2160 at 30 Hertz. And then it gives me a lot of other resolutions as well. I mean, this was a great fix from my side. It fixed the issue with my external Thunderbolt hard drive, and it is giving me superior resolution for my external monitor. Okay guys, if you have liked this video and if it resolves your issue, then please share this video with as many people as you can and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Thank you. See you next video. Bye bye.